Welcome back. All right. So you'll notice the time on the clock says 7:46. I'm recording the first board now in between the first and second period of Winnipeg, Calgary, San Jose, Seattle, and then I can do the second board between the second and third periods, meaning you get this review a lot quicker. All right. And I get done a lot quicker. All right, or earlier for me. So Tampa Bay, Florida starts things off. Vasilevsky versus Bobrovsky, and I think we were all waiting to see when are all the fights going to start. They didn't. Everything got pushy at 2:19, but generally this game was pretty quiet from a fighting standpoint, and it was quiet from a scoring standpoint until 12:19. Lilleberg scores one from the left circle on a face-off win. Kucherov with the lone assist there. It's 1-0 for Tampa. Everything's pushy at the horn, but we're not getting that brawl that we all thought was coming. In fact, I was pretty sure there was one I was like, all right, Greer's on the ice. Douglas is on the ice. Same time. It's going to happen. No, not much. Second period. 30 minutes into this game, we had 8 total penalty minutes, 4 for each team, and 8 shots for the Florida Panthers. So a very quiet game, comparatively speaking, with what we expected. And then at 11:31, on a power play, Florida ties it. Marchand just roofs a backhand and close. Marchand's having the best season of his career, in my opinion. The assist to Sam Reinhart. And in the second half, we get pushing and shoving on most whistles, but no penalties out of it and nothing really egregious. So it's 1-1 after 2. Third period, at 3:46, Tampa breaks the tie. Finley dekes around Bobrovsky on a breakaway. Nicely played for his first National Hockey League goal. Douglas and Sabourin with the assists. Everything's pushy at 6:38. Everything's punchy with 7:51 left, with 2:15 left. There's a 2:15 shift, like 2 minutes and 15 second shift for Kucherov during the 6-on-5 for Florida. They're not able to take advantage. With 1:34 left, the Panthers call a timeout. Whatever they discuss does not work. At 19:10, Girgensons hits the empty net. Yanni Gourde with the assist. Tampa steals one in Florida tonight, 3-1. Considering all the injuries on both teams, it still ended up being very entertaining. Your 3 stars are Finley, Marchand, and Vasilevsky. Shots on net, 10-6 Tampa in the first, 7 apiece in the second, 11-3 Florida in the third. Final shots, 24-20 for the Panthers. Power plays, 0-4 for Tampa, 1-5 for Florida. The hits, 27-25 for Tampa. Vasilevsky saves 23 out of 24. Bobrovsky saves 17 out of 19. All right, next up, Anaheim and Minnesota. Mrazek versus Wallstead. The Ducks killed a 4-minute penalty in that first period. Pretty evenly played first 20 minutes. Not a whole lot to add to that, really, because we had a lot of games going today, although, when that first period happened, there was just the Tampa game and the Minnesota game. There just wasn't much for me to write, because I'm not doing the notes, right? This is just the modified. Second period, it's not scoreless for long. 55 seconds in, Johansson dekes around Mrazek on a rush. Boldy and Hartman with the assist, so that makes it 1-0 in favor of Minnesota. And honestly, it's another pretty evenly played second period. Both teams had 19 shots through 2 periods. I thought it was entertaining. It was well done. Third period, Hunt exits for repairs. He took a high stick to the face. And that was another 4 minutes for Anaheim. So the Ducks kill that one off as well. Those are 2 double minors Minnesota doesn't score on. With the 6:37 left, we get another power play for the Wild. That's killed off as well. The Wild press with 2.5 minutes left. The goalie pull happens with 1 minute and 45 seconds left. And at 19:05, Matt Boldy hits the empty net, the assist to Middleton and Eriksson Ek. So it is a 2-0 victory for Minnesota. The Tony the Tiger magnets on the board because Wallstead was great. And the chess magnets on the board because 3 goals or less. Your 3 stars are Wallstead, Eriksson Ek, and Johansson. Shots on net, 9-8 Minnesota in the first, 11-10 Anaheim in the second, and 11-9 Minnesota in the third. Final shots, 30-28 for the Wild. Power plays, Anaheim 0-2. The Minnesota Wild 0-7. So that'll bring down that power play. As I've been saying, their power play really bolstered early in the season. It struggled recently. The hits, 20-18 for Anaheim. Mrazek saves 28 out of 29. Maybe the best game he's played this season, but Wallstead saved all 28 to get the shutout. I was mildly surprised Mrazek didn't get one of the 3 stars since he only allowed 1 goal. But I don't have any control over the 3 stars, so here we are. All right, next up, Boston and Montreal. This was entertaining. This really was. Swayman versus Montembeault. And as I've been saying, I love this matchup when these teams are both relevant, when they're both in the hunt for a playoff spot. So Zadorov had a fight with Struble 4 seconds in. Then Jeannot has a fight with Xhekaj because these guys know each other and fought each other before. And then at 8:38, it's a cross-ice pass and in on a turnover. Huznadinov scores from Pasternak and Zadorov. So Boston has the 1-0 lead. Not for long. At 12:12, it's a shorthanded goal. So during a Boston power play, Evans scores on a 2-on-1 rush. Josh Anderson with the assist. And then there's some key moments in the game. There's 1:28 of 5-on-3 for the Montreal Canadiens. Not only does Boston kill that off, no shots on net for Montreal during that. It's a 1-1 tie after one. Second period. At 2 minutes, Lowry would score from Kastelik and Jeannot. So Boston gets their lead back at 2-1. Then we get a minute and 50 seconds of 5-on-3 for the Montreal Canadiens. It is killed off. The Habs, though, go right back to the power play. That's killed off as well. McAvoy took a puck to the face. He exits. According to an update from Elliot Friedman, he is still being checked out. They're hoping he can get on the plane to go home with them, but it did not look great. It did look like that caused some damage for McAvoy. The Bruins do finish the kill after that. So he took the puck to the face during the penalty kill. Then Boston on the power play score. At 16:51, Arvidsson wires one from the slot. Zacha and Pasternak with the assists. It's the first 2-goal lead of the game. It is now 3-1 in favor of Boston. But at 18:44, Caulfield, he goes backhand from the doorstep on a rush. Suzuki and Struble with the assists. So that makes it 3-2. In the third period, entertaining period. Montreal had opportunities. They had opportunities during the 6-on-5, but Swayman makes the saves that are necessary, and Boston steals one in Montreal, 3-2. Your 3 stars are Pasternak, Evans, and Swayman. So Pasternak, he likes playing against the other Atlantic Division teams. Shots on net, 10-7 Boston in the first, 12-7 Montreal in the second, 9-5 Montreal in the third. The Habs do outshoot Boston 28-22. Power plays, Boston 1 for 5, Montreal 0 for 7. So 2 0 for 7s already on the board today. The hits, 27 apiece. Swayman saves 26 out of 28, continues his redemption arc this year. Montembeault, 19 saves on 22 shots. I've noticed that all of the people who are doing victory laps on how bad Swayman was for his contract, you're not saying a whole lot this year. I wonder why that is. All right, moving along. The LA Kings and the Ottawa Senators, Forsberg versus Ullmark. It is scoreless until 9:17 into the first period. It is a point shot that's tipped home. Laferriere gets this one from Anderson and Byfield. So 1-0 LA. And the Sens didn't have a shot until 13 minutes into the period. And they didn't have a goal when the period was done. It was a very quiet first period of hockey. Second period is also very quiet. The Sens had 6 shots 30 minutes into this game. And they didn't get a whole lot more as the game went along. Very quiet, few chances. Doughty got hurt. It was announced he would not return to the game. I don't know what Doughty's status is, but again, Elliot Friedman reporting he did leave in a walking boot. So not great if you're a Kings fan. So we go to the third period. The Kings would get a power play with 6:04 left. That is killed off, but it also takes 2 minutes off the clock. Goalie pull happens with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. With 14.3 seconds left, the Sens call a timeout. Whatever they discuss does not work. And so it's a 1-0 shutout for the LA Kings. The chess magnets on the board. Tony the Tiger's on the board as well. Your 3 stars are Forsberg, Laferriere, and Giroux. Somebody didn't get the assignment. You're supposed to give Ullmark the 3rd star. At any rate, shots on net, 5-4 LA in the first, 6-2 Ottawa in the second, and then 11-7 in favor of Ottawa or LA, I should say, in the third period. Final shots are 18-17 LA. Not an exciting game. Power plays 0 for 2 for both. The hits, 22-16 for Ottawa. Forsberg saves all 17 for the shutout against his former team. And Ullmark, 17 saves on 18 shots at the other end. All right, next up, Buffalo and Detroit. So this is kind of where all the goals reside. It's Ellis versus Gibson and 10:23 in on a turnover. A net feed gets tipped in by Kane. Sherratt picked off the puck there. Kane ends up getting the goal. It's 1-0 for Detroit. But at 10:52, Gibson just fails to cover a puck. He should have covered it. It wouldn't have been available. But when it was, Tuck's like, fine, I'll bury it. And he does. It's a 1-1 tie. Then we go to the second period with the score tied at 1. And at 3:52, DeBrincat would score to give Detroit the lead back. So Raymond with the assist there. And the Wings got a power play soon after. So there's some momentum, which looked like it got short-circuited because 14 seconds later it becomes 4-on-4. But no, au contraire. Detroit doesn't care. Larkin scores during the 4-on-4 at 5:56 from Raymond and Sider. So that makes it 3-1 in favor of Detroit. And then on a power play at 8:50, DeBrincat scores, Raymond and Sider with the assists. So Detroit with a commanding 4-1 lead in this one. Gets eaten into a bit at 17:58, where Doan scores from Darlene, makes it 4-2. The Sabres would then draw a power play with 1:37 left. It was unsuccessful. It is 4-2 after 2 periods of play going to the third. In the third, at 4:25, Tage Thompson, who's an absolute beast when he gets going, he scores to make it 4-3. Doan and Ellis with the assist. So there's Ellis's first career NHL point, I do believe. And then at 9:28, on a breakaway off of a really nice steal, shorthanded, Ryan McLeod ties the game at 4. So at 9:28, it quiets that Detroit crowd down. I imagine there were some Detroit fans going, I knew it. Here we go. It's us again. And then with 2:23 left, the Wings get a power play. So they have a chance at redemption. Buffalo kills that off. We're going to overtime, tied at 4. A lot of overtime tonight. Wings control early, but it gets stolen. Thompson even makes sure that Detroit doesn't get it back by just, I don't remember who it was, but he drills one of the Detroit players to the ice, gets the puck to Samuelsson, and Samuelsson wires it from the slot. Buffalo wins in Detroit. It's their first road win of the season. At 1:05, it's Samuelsson from Thompson and Darlene. So Darlene with a point in his return. I believe he had 2 points, and he had 2 points in his return. Welcome back. It's a 5-4 overtime win for Buffalo. Your 3 stars are Thompson, Raymond, and Doan. Shots on net, 5 apiece in the first. 15-8 for Detroit in the second, 13-8 Buffalo in the third, and Buffalo the only shot of overtime. It's all they needed. Final shots 28-27 for Detroit. Power plays Buffalo 0-4, Detroit 1-5. The hits 19-18 Buffalo. Ellis saves 24 out of 28. Gibson saves 22 out of 27. Rough night for John Gibson, and kind of a rough night for the Wings. When you have a 3 goal lead on Buffalo, you gotta hold that. So we'll see what happens coming out of this one. All right. Last game we're going to review for now, or I'm going to review for now, you guys are going to watch for now, is New Jersey and Washington, meaning I got to keep this jersey on and keep it clean for the next couple hours. Allen versus Thompson, and New Jersey would score on the power play in that first period at 5:06. It's Griciuk with a one-timer from the right circle, Luke Hughes and Cotter with the assists. I don't really have to specify Luke Hughes because Jack Hughes is out of the lineup, but I'm going to continue to do so because I feel like that's the right thing to do. I'm used to it. I want to make sure I stay in that habit. So Ferrari exited. There was no call in the play. There was some booing. I don't know whether you wanted to call a penalty there. Ferrari would return to the game. Then at 17:46, Luke Hughes gets his first of the season. He scores from Dylan and Bratt. However, there wasn't much of a celebration because Bratt got shaken up on the play. So everybody from the Devils immediately went over to check on Jesper Bratt, who did stay in the game. And it's 2-0 in favor of New Jersey. Now in the second period, we don't get any goals. Allen plays really well. Washington had a strong period. Allen kept them off the score sheet. The Devils also killed the only power play of the second period. So it stays 2-0 New Jersey after 2. Third period, at 1 minute, McMichael's cues the comeback here. He scores from Ovechkin. It's a net feed that's buried. And Jake Allen was without his stick. So makes it 2-1. Then at 8:29, it's Ovechkin with the 1800th goal of his career. I don't know. I'm not counting now. He's number 1. I'm not sure why people are still counting. Ovechkin goes 5-hole from in close on a face-off win. McMichael and Strome with the assists. So at 8:29, it becomes a 2-2 tie. And as is the case tonight, it goes to overtime. In the overtime, the Devils did control early. They had opportunities. They were stifled by Thompson, and then Allen stifled the Capitals as well. So we go to a shootout, and in round 4, it's Nemitz. Yeah, Nemitz has a goal-scoring ability that's really started to show up this season. Nemitz gets the 3-2 over Washington. Your 3 stars are Allen, Thompson, and Luke Hughes. Shots on net, 14-8 New Jersey in the first, 11-7 Washington in the second, 5 Washington in the third. In the overtime, the shots were 5-2 for the Devils. Final shots, 32-31 for Washington. Power plays, 1-3 for the Devils, 0-1 for Washington. The hits, 26-13 for the Capitals. Allen saves 30 out of 32, and Thompson saves 29 out of 31. All right, let's go to board number 2. All right, I wasn't kidding about the overtime. Lots overtime. In fact, the 2 late games, it's possible we may have more overtime tonight. So, Edmonton and Carolina, completely unrelated. Skinner versus Anderson in this one. And at 3:47, Edmonton scores. So, it is Roslovic roofing one on a fast break. So the Oilers get the lead early against a Carolina team that did play last night. And then Edmonton makes it 2-0 on the power play. At 6 minutes and 30 seconds, it's a puck bounces off the boards right to McDavid. McDavid buries it. Roslovic and Draisaitl with the assist. So very early on in this, it's 2-0 for Edmonton. But at 15:39, there's a puck that's loose behind Stuart Skinner, and Robinson deposits it. So Robinson gets the goal from Gostisbehere and Hall, makes it 2-1 for Edmonton. That would be the score after one. Early in the second period, Carolina would tie it. Ehlers buries one on a pass from behind the net. Blake and Stankoven with the assists at 1:41 makes the score 2-2. And despite there being a lot of opportunities for Carolina, Skinner had a really strong second period, and so it stays 2-2 going into the third. At 5:46 of the third period, the Oilers get the lead back. It's McDavid from Draisaitl and Hyman. So Zach Hyman back on the ice today, and he gets his first point in his first game back. And that lead lasts 59 seconds. So Stahl ends up bearing a rebound on a rush at 6:45. Carrier and Martinook with the assists, and Carolina makes it 3-3. The fans then call one. The referee does not. The referee is informed that in terms of how much he sucks, it's not in the 0 region. It's closer to 100. So, yeah, we have a 3-3 tie. We go to overtime. In the overtime, the Oilers control early, and they win it. And I have to say, too, there was a lot of overtime going on at the exact same time tonight. I tried to catch as much of each overtime as I could. Draisaitl rifles one from the high slot on a rush from McDavid and Bouchard at 19 seconds, to which I thank the Oilers, because then I could watch the other ones. 4-3 overtime win for the Oilers. 3 stars are McDavid, Draisaitl, and Jordan Stahl. Shots on net, 11-8 Carolina in the first, 16-6 Carolina in the second, 9-8 Carolina in the third. The Oilers had the only shot of overtime. That's all they needed. Final shots, 36-23 for Carolina. Power plays, Edmonton 1-for-1. Carolina 0-for-2. The hits, 25-17 for Edmonton. Skinner, good game for him. 33 saves on 36 shots. And Freddie Anderson, 19 saves on 23 shots. All right, moving along. The New York Rangers, the Columbus Blue Jackets, Shesterkin versus Greaves. I do not have much to say about that first period other than it was a very good period for the Rangers. The Rangers on the road are just so completely, vastly different from the Rangers at home, and this road trip's proved it. In the second period, they would get the lead on the power play at 5:42. Zibanejad scores from Panarin and Fox. And interestingly enough, halfway through this game, 30 minutes in, Columbus had 7 shots. So Columbus gets on their horse and gets things going at 15:20 on a power play of their own. Voronkov would score from Werenski and Marchenko. So we have a 1-1 tie. We then had a fight between Carrick and Olivier. So it's 1-1 after 2 periods of play. That third period was very quiet. And even though there were a lot of games on, I was watching as much as I could, trying to find anything that maybe I could think was interesting. There were 14 total shots. There were no penalties in that third period. Officials just letting them play. So we go to the overtime. Columbus controlled early, and they immediately turned it over. And then there was kind of some back and forth. Each team had 1 shot, but we end up going to a shootout. In the shootout, it is JT Miller that gets the winner. And so Columbus loses this one in a shootout to the Rangers 2-1. The chess magnet is on the board. That is the third one tonight. Just looking at the rest of the, yeah, there isn't any chance of another chess magnet. That's the last one. 3 stars are Shesterkin, Greaves, and Miller. Shots on net, 10-4 Rangers in the first, 15-12 Rangers in the second, 8-6 Columbus in the third, and both teams had a single shot in the overtime. Final shots, 32-25 for the Rangers. Power plays, both teams go 1-for-2. The hits, 31-27 Rangers. Shesterkin saves 24 out of 25. Greaves saves 31 out of 32. I would have made Greaves the first star just because he had the 31 saves, but I get it. Shootout victory for Shesterkin, so Igor gets the first star. I do understand. All right, next up, Toronto and Chicago. Wool versus Knight. And 11:05 in, it is the Blackhawks that score first. Green, who apparently is a Newfoundlander, so kudos to him for that. One-timer across ice pass. I salute people for where they're born. So Green scores from Levshinov and Kaiser. Makes it 1-0 for Chicago. That lead lasts until the last minute of the first period where Toronto does tie it. At 19:02, Robertson chips in a rebound from the doorstep. Tavares with the assist. So there's Robertson with another goal. Robertson with another goal. And it is a 1-1 tie after one. Second period. The Leafs score. It's challenged for a missed stoppage. For a high stick. I do believe that's what they were challenging for, and it fails. So it counts, puts the Leafs on the power play. They don't score during that power play, but with that goal, they go up 2-1. At 9:37, it's Riley from Ekman-Larsson and Nylander. So there's Nylander on the board yet again. He now has 26 points on the season. And it is 2-1 for Toronto after 2 periods of play. All they got to do is hold the lead. Third period, at 5:12, they no longer have the lead. Teravainen roofs one via a net drive on a rush. Beautiful goal by Teravainen. Frank Nazar with the assist. So Nazar gets on the board in his return to action, and it's suddenly a 2-2 tie. And I was figuring, well, that makes sense. Everything's going to overtime tonight. However, Chicago had other plans. At 15:35, Colton Dach tips in a point shot to make it 3-2. The assist to Crevier and Mikheyev. It was a nice shot by Crevier, which was tipped in by Dach. We have a 3-2 lead for Chicago. Goalie pull happens with 1 minute and 25 seconds left. The Leafs call a timeout with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Whatever they discussed does not work. 3-2 win for Chicago. Your 3 stars are Dach, Teravainen, and Levshunov. Shots on net, 14-10 Toronto in the first, 11-5 Chicago in the second, 14-11 Toronto in the third. Final shots are 33-32 for the Leafs. Power plays, Toronto 0 for 3, Chicago 0 for 2. The hits, 28-15 for Toronto. Woll saved 29 out of 32. He was good in his return. Knight, better. 31 saves on 33 shots. Vancouver. Toronto officially below 500. Why would I say Vancouver? Because they're below 500 too. So, hi Toronto. Welcome to being in the same position as the Canucks. Feels great, doesn't it? Anyways, all right. Next up, Vegas and St. Louis. Misery loves company, doesn't it? So it's Schmid versus Hofer, and Vegas would score at 12:52. And of course, it's Brendan Saad, a former St. Louis Blue, gets the goal from Smith and Howden. And then at 14:58, just over 2 minutes later, Vegas scores again. Bowman gets his first National Hockey League goal, so congratulations to him. Dorofeev and Eichel with the assists, makes it 2-0 Vegas. That would be your score after 1. In the second period, early in the second period, 36 seconds in, Noah Hannafin gets his first of the season. Whitecloud and Smith with the assists. Walker was given 5 minutes for a high stick on Sissons. It was reckless, but there was no vicious intent, so it gets dropped to a 4-minute power play for the Vegas Golden Knights, which, to St. Louis's credit, they did kill off. So we go to the third period with the score 3-0 in favor of Vegas. At 11:20 of the third period, after a St. Louis power play was so good, it got booed off the ice kind of thing. They had no shots on that power play. They really couldn't set up. And then at 11:20, I don't think it was that long after that ended, Hurdle roofs one on a breakaway. Dorofeev with a second assist of the game. It's 4-0 in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights. At 15:57, shutout broken. Broberg, it's a point shot past a screen that fools Schmid. The assist to Thomas and Snuggerud. Vegas up 4-1, and that would be your final score. Your 3 stars are Bowman, Smith, and Saad. Shots on net favored Vegas in the first and second. 13-8 in the first, 15-7 in the second. Shots were 8-5 in the third in favor of St. Louis. Power plays, the overall shots were 33-23. I'm getting ahead of myself. What happens is, as the video's going on and I'm getting closer and closer to the start of the next period, I'm start thinking about, okay, third period's coming. So apologies. Shots are 33-23 for Vegas. Power plays, Vegas 1 for 3, St. Louis 0 for 2. The hits 24-11 for St. Louis. Schmid saves 22 out of 23. Hofer saved 29 out of 33. I thought Hofer played all right. Just Vegas had it tonight. I think Vegas realized just how tough a position they're finding themselves in if they don't start winning soon. So they started winning tonight. All right, and last game we're going to review for now, and then you'll see a time jump again. Philadelphia and Dallas. So it's Vladar versus Ottinger, and 3:48 in, it's Bischel. He gets his first of the season. Petrovic and Hristkovian with the assists. Philadelphia had 1 shot in the first half of the period, and they felt like that was almost good enough. So they had 2 shots in the second half of the first period. It was all Dallas. Really, Philadelphia was lucky it was only 1-0 after the first. Second period. Much better start for Philadelphia. I thought they controlled a lot of that first half. They're looking for a goal. Dallas would find the next one. At 11:39, it's Robertson from Sagan and Hintz. Jason Robertson's starting to play like we all know he can, and it's 2-0 for Dallas. And then at 17:02, it's Robertson again. Hintz and Lindell with the assists, and so it is a 3-0 lead. Everything gets pushy with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Flyers come out of that with a power play, which Dallas then kills off. We go to the third period, score 3-0 for Dallas. In the third period at 9:29, Robertson on the power play gets the natural hat trick, the third goal in a row. The assist to Hintz and Rantanen. He wires this one from the slot to complete the hat trick. Hats all over the ice. I didn't throw mine, no. 4-0 at that point for the Dallas Stars. I don't think I was wearing a hat at the time, actually, when that one went in. At any rate, maybe. At 10:57, the shutout is broken. Dvorak would score from Tippett. He buries this one from the doorstep, so it makes it 4-1. This is where the Flyers announcers started talking about a comeback, and I got a bit of a chuckle. I'm like, Dallas isn't blowing a lead like this at home. Though I guess you want fans to keep watching, right? You're like, hey, Philadelphia fans, you stayed up this late. Just stay up a little later. Maybe we can come back. Well, at 13:51, Sagan scores from Lyubushkin to put the comeback talk to rest. And Dallas ends up winning this one 5-1. So another strong victory for Dallas, who are starting to play the way I know they can. 3 stars are Robertson, Hintz, and Bischel. Shots on net, 10-3 Dallas in the first, 11-6 Philly in the second, 12-7 Dallas in the third. Final shots, 28-21 for the Stars. Power plays, 0-1 for Philly, 1-2 for Dallas. The hits, 32-23 for Philadelphia. Vladar saves 23 out of 28. Ottinger saved 20 out of 21. Very good night for him. He doesn't end up getting into the 3 stars because he allowed that goal in the third period. So that's what happened to Ottinger. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause, and then we'll review the final 2 games when they're done. All right, called it. Okay, so Winnipeg versus Calgary. It was Hellebuck versus Wolf, and the first period was it was a display by both goaltenders that they were on their game. I'm kind of surprised neither goaltender ends up being a star after that first period, but the rest of the game would explain why. Second period, 7:19 in. It's Mark Scheifele. It's a cross-ice passing in on a rush. Connor and Morrissey with the assists, making it 1-0 in favor of the Jets. The Flames would answer seconds later. At 7:52, it's Bean. It's a point shot blocker side. Pahal and Frost with the assists, and that went in off of the stick, I believe, of Perfetti. Nope, that's not the goal that went in off Perfetti's stick. We'll get there. Then seconds after that, at 8:50 or 8:25, Pearson. It's a screenshot that gets the lead back for Winnipeg. Shannon Stanley with the assists. So it's a 2-1 lead until about 5 minutes later at 13:29. This is the one that goes off Perfetti's stick. It's Ball credited with the goal. Coronado and Frost with the assists. So we have a 2-2 tie, and that would be our score after 2 periods of play. We go to the third, and Perfetti on the power play buries a rebound into an open net at 1:20. So he makes up for the one that went off his stick into his own net by getting one into the Flames net. Connor and Morrissey with the assist. So Morrissey stays red hot. It's 3-2 in favor of the Jets. And it stays that way until 2:47 left. The Flames get a power play. 1:45 left. The Flames call a timeout. And at 18:46... they score on that power play. Coronado buries a rebound from in close. Anderson and Huberdeau with the assists. We have a 3-3 tie. We are going to overtime. Flames control early in overtime. Huberdeau has a rush chance that's blocked out. Kadri has a shot that's blocked. The Jets take over. We then get a power play for the Flames, which Scheifele vehemently opposed. To the point where, as we went to the shootout, Scheifele argued his way into a misconduct. Now, if you're in the penalty box at the end of overtime, you can come out and compete in the shootout. However, if you get a penalty after overtime's done, you cannot compete in the shootout. So Scheifele was gone. Velarde would get the winner for Winnipeg. So Winnipeg does get the 2 points here. 4-3 shootout victory. Your 3 stars are Coronado, Connor, and Anderson. Shots on net. 12-8 Calgary in the first, 10 apiece in the second, 11-4 Calgary in the third. Both teams had 1 shot in the overtime. Final shots 34-23 for Calgary. Power plays, Winnipeg scored on the only one they had. Calgary went 1 for 3. The hits 27-21 for Calgary. Hellebuck saves 31 out of 34, and Wolf saves 20 out of 23. All right, moving along. Last game of the night is San Jose and Seattle. Nedeljkovic versus Murray in this one, and 8:14 in. Seattle opens the scoring. Jaden Schwartz, it's a cross-crease pass and in on a rush. Stevenson and Alexiak with the assists, and it stays that way until very late in the first period. At 19:43, Wenberg tips in a net feed on the power play. Celebrini and Eklund with the assists. Now, something happened to Murray here. It looked like maybe his leg was bothering him on trying to make that save. He would exit. He just flat out left. Grubauer went in. Usually when a goaltender just leaves, that means it's not going to be just a day-to-day thing. Usually. They'll usually try to stick it out. In the case where a goaltender just goes, I'm out of here, it usually means they're going to be out for a while. So we'll see what his prognosis is. But it's 1-1. We go to the second period. Grubauer is still in the net. Not really a surprise there. The puck was in the Seattle net. It was called no goal. Review confirms that it's a kick. The San Jose broadcasters disagreed vehemently with it being called a kick. I understood why they called it a kick. Either way, it stays 1-1. Then at 16:05, it's a wrist shot short side past a screen by Adam Larson. He gets his first goal of the season. The assist to Marchman and Beniers. And then seconds later at 16:43 on a 2-on-1 rush, Tolvanen puts in the cross-ice pass. The assist to Stevenson and Alexiak. So Stevenson with a couple primary assists tonight, and it's 3-1 Seattle. That's your score after 2. Third period, it stays 3-1 until there's a timeout for the Sharks with 3:53 left. They were on the power play, so they make it 6-on-4. It's going to be 36 seconds of 6-on-4. And at 16:31, Jaden Schwartz hits the empty net. It's a shorthanded goal for him there. Lindgren with the assist, making it 4-1. That's your final score. Seattle, 4-1 winners. Your 3 stars, Grubauer. Completely understand Grubauer as the first star. He came in, he was absolutely excellent, considering Murray was out. He was, the starter and then was done. So pressure on Grubauer there. Stevenson and Schwartz, the other 2 stars in the game. Shots on net, 7-6 San Jose in the first, 14-10 San Jose in the second, 8-5 Seattle in the third. Final shots 26-24 for San Jose. Power plays, San Jose 1 for 6, Seattle 0 for 2. The hits 19-12 in favor of San Jose. Nedeljkovic saves 20 out of 23. Murray saved 6 out of 7 before he took himself out of the game. And Grubauer saved all 19 in relief. Let's take a look at what this did to the standings. So this coming week, I'm going to have to do the letter grades for teams, as almost everybody's to that quarter mark, or close to the quarter mark. 20 games we consider to be the quarter mark, right? So Colorado, of course, still first in their division, 18 games, 12-1-5, record 29 points. They play tomorrow. They did not play tonight or last night. Dallas, second. They've played 19 games, a record of 12-4-3, 27 points, and Dallas is starting to play like Dallas should. Winnipeg is still third, 18 games, 11-7 record, 22 points. Interestingly enough, if they had lost that game in regulation to Calgary, they would be out of the playoffs by a couple of teams. So that's how close things are still in the West. Pacific, the LA Kings are now first, 10-5-4 record, 24 points in 19 games. Anaheim 11-6-1, 23 points in 18 games. Seattle 9-4-5. They're also sitting with 23 points in 18 games. Chicago's the number 1 wild card, 9-5-4, 22 points in 18 games. The Oilers above the playoff line at 9-7-4, 22 points in 20 games. Just below the playoff line, Vegas 8-4-5, I should say, 21 points in 17 games. So they have 3 games in hand on Edmonton. They probably would get a point in those 3 games. Utah 10-7-1, 21 points in 18 games. Minnesota 8-7-4. All of a sudden, 20 points in 19 games. They find themselves 2 points out of a playoff spot. There you go. San Jose 8-8-3, 19 points in 19 games. San Jose had a really good run going. Obviously, they've fallen on some more hard times here, but that's how things work. They're not just going to jump into the playoffs and be a fantastic team right away. It may very well be next season we start seeing that with them. Vancouver 8-9-2, 18 points in 19 games. St. Louis now has the same record as Nashville. Both of them 6-9-4, 16 points in 19 games. And Calgary 5-12-3, so 13 points, I should say, in 20 games. They are 3 points back of both Nashville and St. Louis. In the Atlantic, Boston is number 1. I'm as surprised as anybody. 12-8, 24 points in 20 games. I'll take it. Montreal 10-6-2, 22 points in 18 games. Ottawa 9-6-4, 22 points in 19 games as well. First in the Metro is New Jersey, 13-4-1, 27 points in 18 games. Carolina 12-5-1, 25 points in 18 games. And Pittsburgh 9-5-4, 22 points in 18 games. Winnipeg now is the only team left without an overtime or shootout loss. They won that one in the shootout tonight. Islanders are the number 1 wild card, 10-6-2, 22 points in 18 games. The Rangers are the number 2 wild card. Both wild card spots belong to Metro teams. 22 points in 19 games for the Rangers, record of 10-7-2. Detroit just below the line, 18 games, 10-7-1, 21 points for them. Philadelphia also just below the line, 9-6-3, 21 points in 18 games. Tampa 9-6-2, 20 points in 17 games. Columbus 9-7-2, 20 points in 18 games. Florida 9-8-1, 19 points in 18 games. Washington 8-8-2, so 18 points in 18 games for them. Toronto's below 500, 8-9-2, 18 points in 19 games. My videos don't have the effect they used to, which was if I talk about a team struggling, they win. Talk about a team winning, they lose. Maybe I never had a superpower. And then Buffalo, 6-8-4, 16 points in 18 games. They are within 2 points of Toronto, and they have a game in hand on Toronto. So, yeah, tough times for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. I didn't see that coming, but at any rate, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for this review that took hours to make, but it is going to post to the channel much earlier than normal as a result of me recording it earlier. So thank you guys so much. I wish the NHL Saturdays were scheduled like this all the time. That being said, I'm done for now. If you haven't already hit like and subscribe, please do. I will talk to you again. Well, you'll see the video at 6 a.m., but I'm going to be, well, my time, 6 a.m., but I'll be recording the power rankings pretty quickly after this is done. I will talk to you again soon.